Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. The Galactic Fear, when Earth's warship took command. Captain Kim stood at the center of the bridge, hands clasped behind his back. Through the main viewport, he watched the alien ships move into position around the EDS Discovery. The sleek, curved vessels of the Galactic Concordat dwarfed Earth's first diplomatic ship. "Sir, they've completely surrounded us," said Lieutenant Park. Her fingers moved quickly across her console as she monitored the situation. Though her voice remained calm, the tightness around her eyes revealed her concern. "Maintain position," Kim ordered. "We're here on a peaceful mission. Let's not give them any reason to think otherwise." The Discovery represented humanity's greatest achievement. After decades of research, Earth had finally developed faster-than-light travel. The ship carried Earth's brightest minds and best diplomats, sent to introduce humanity to the wider galactic community. No one had expected to find an established galactic government waiting for them. "They're hailing us again, Captain," Park said, looking up from her station. "This is the third time in the past hour." Kim sighed. "Put them through." The main screen at the front of the bridge flickered to life. The alien that appeared made several crew members shift uncomfortably. Ambassador Talek had skin so thin it was nearly transparent, showing the faint movement of fluids beneath. 6 eyes, arranged in 2 rows, blinked independently of each other. His mouth, when it moved, revealed teeth like polished black stones. "Captain Kim," Talek said, his translator converting his clicks and whistles into English, "your continued hesitation is disappointing." "Ambassador Talek," Kim replied with a small bow of his head. "Earth appreciates the Concordat's interest, but we need time to consider your proposal." "Time," Talek repeated the word, sounding almost like a curse. "Your species has existed for a mere instant by our standards. Your technology is primitive, your understanding of galactic politics is non-existent. What you need is guidance, not time." Kim felt his jaw tighten but kept his expression neutral. "Nevertheless, we humans—" Talek interrupted, his upper eyes narrowing. "Let me be clear. The Galactic Concordat has stood for 10,000 years. We have brought order to 100 systems. Your species is primitive by our standards. The Concordat offers protection and guidance as you develop. You will surrender your autonomy and become a protectorate." A murmur ran through the bridge crew. Kim raised a hand to quiet them, then stood from his chair, drawing himself to his full height. "With respect, Ambassador," he said, his voice firm, "Earth joins the stars as equals, not subjects. We must decline your offer." The 6 eyes blinked in what Kim was learning to recognize as surprise. "Decline?" Talek's voice rose slightly. "Captain, perhaps I haven't made myself clear. This is not an offer. This is how the galaxy functions. Lesser species know their place." "We understand your position," Kim replied, "but Earth has its own position. We seek friendship with all spacefaring races, but we will not surrender our independence." Talek's upper eyes narrowed to slits. "This is unfortunate, then. We have nothing more to discuss." "We will return to Earth." A sudden jolt threw Kim against his chair. The bridge lights flickered, and red warning symbols appeared on every screen. "They've locked weapons on us," Park shouted, her composure finally breaking. "Shields up," Kim ordered. "Evasive maneuvers." "Shields failing," reported the tactical officer. "Their weapons are cutting through our defenses like they aren't even there." Another blast rocked the ship. A support beam came loose from the ceiling, crashing down only meters from where Kim stood. "All hands, emergency protocols," Kim called out. He turned to his communications officer. "Send a message to Earth, tell them." The third blast hit directly above the bridge. The ceiling collapsed inward, crushing 2 crew members instantly. Flames erupted from damaged power conduits. Through the chaos, Kim caught a final glimpse of Talek on the viewscreen. The alien was watching with his 6 eyes, his expression impossible to read. "Get to the escape pods," Kim ordered as he helped a wounded engineer to her feet. "Abandon ship." Lieutenant Park grabbed his arm. "Captain, the escape pods won't make it past their weapons. We need to—" Her words were cut short as the ship shuddered one final time. A blinding white light filled the bridge for a brief moment. Captain Kim felt nothing but intense heat, and then nothing at all. The Discovery erupted in a brilliant flash of light, visible for millions of kilometers. Pieces of Earth's first and finest starship scattered across space, some burning up completely, others left to drift eternally through the void. In their ships, the Concordat observers recorded everything. Data streamed back to their homeworlds, documenting the destruction of humanity's vessel for analysis. 3 days later, in the grand chambers of the Concordat High Council, Ambassador Talek stood before the assembled representatives of 17 advanced species. The circular room hummed with quiet conversations as the members discussed the incident. High Counselor Var, the eldest of the council, raised a long-fingered hand. The room fell silent. Ambassador Talek, Var said, his voice deep and resonant, you have returned from your encounter with the new species. Tell us what happened. Talek bowed his head in respect. High Counselor, members of the Council, I regret to inform you that our first contact with the species known as humans ended poorly. He activated a holographic display showing recordings of the Discovery and its destruction. As instructed, I offered them protectorate status within the Concordat. Their response was unexpected. The recording showed Captain Kim standing defiantly on his bridge. They rejected our guidance? Asked a counselor from the back of the room. Not only rejected, Talek replied, but responded with aggression when informed that protectorate status was not optional. They attempted to flee and prepared weapons. This was not what had happened, but Talek knew the humans could not contradict his account. We had no choice but to neutralize the threat, he continued. Their primitive vessel posed no challenge. The entire incident was regrettable but necessary. High Counselor Var nodded slowly. And what of their homeworld, this Earth? We have its coordinates, Talek said. I recommend we dispatch an annexation fleet immediately. The humans must learn their place in the galactic order. Agreed, Var said after a moment of consideration. Prepare the fleet. The humans will become a protectorate of the Concordat whether they wish it or not. As the council dissolved into discussion of the logistics of annexation, none of them considered what the humans might do in response. After all, what could a primitive species possibly do against the might of the Concordat? Far away, the final automated transmission from the Discovery reached Earth, carrying news of the Concordat's treachery. In orbit and on the ground, humanity received its first lesson in galactic politics, and they began to prepare. The vast alien ship hung in space at the edge of Earth's solar system, its blue-green hull shimmering in the distant sunlight, surrounded by a dozen smaller vessels. 3 years had passed since the destruction of the EDS Discovery, and a Concordat annexation fleet had been waiting for Earth's response to their ultimatum for nearly 6 months. High Commander Lee walked along the bridge of his flagship, the Concordat vessel Inevitable Harmony. His tall, slender frame moved with the grace typical of his species. Unlike most of the Concordat races, Lee's people resembled humans in basic shape, though his silvery skin and completely black eyes marked him as alien. Report, he ordered, stopping before the main view screen that showed the distant yellow star that humans called their sun. His aide officer, Tav, approached with a data tablet. Still nothing from the humans, Commander, he said, his four-fingered hand extending the device. They've gone completely silent since we arrived. Lee took the tablet and flicked through the information. No communications, no defensive preparations, nothing. No, Commander, Tav replied. Our deep scouts report increased activity within their asteroid belt, but nothing that appears threatening. Just mining operations and some small construction facilities. And their planetary defenses. Minimal, some orbital platforms, a small fleet of sublight vessels. Nothing that could challenge even one of our support ships, let alone the full annexation fleet. Lee handed the tablet back to his aide. Strange. The diplomatic team reported that they were stubborn and defiant. I expected more resistance. Perhaps the destruction of their ship taught them a lesson, Tav suggested. They had 3 years to consider their position. Perhaps, Lee said, though doubt crept into his voice. Have the scouts detected any unusual energy signatures? Any sign they might be developing more advanced technology? Nothing beyond their expected development curve, Commander. They appear to be a standard Level 3 civilization, perhaps on the verge of reaching Level 4. Impressive for their age, but no match for the Concordat. Lee nodded slowly. They know they cannot stand against us. That must be it. He straightened his back, decision made. Tell the fleet to prepare for the final approach to their homeworld. We'll begin the formal annexation process in 3 days. Yes, Commander, Tav said with a small bow. I'll inform the fleet immediately. As his aide moved away to relay the orders, Lee continued to stare at the view screen. Something about the situation bothered him. In his centuries of service to the Concordat, he had overseen dozens of annexations. Most species fought back, at least symbolically. Some tried negotiation. None had ever gone completely silent. Unusual, he murmured to himself, but ultimately irrelevant. Far from the watching eyes of the Concordat fleet, deep within the frigid outer reaches of the solar system, humanity had been working. The Kuiper Belt, a vast region of icy bodies beyond Neptune's orbit, had been transformed over the past 3 years. What had once been uninhabited space now housed the largest construction project in human history. Concealed by electronic countermeasures and the natural debris of the region, a massive shipyard extended for kilometers through the vacuum. Admiral Han stood at a viewport in the control center, his breath creating small clouds in the cold air. Despite the discomfort, he had ordered the environmental systems kept at minimum levels to reduce energy signatures that might be detected. The station was dark, lit only by essential systems and the glow from screens and equipment. Through the viewport, he could see humanity's answer to the Concordat. It filled his view despite being kilometers away, a massive vessel unlike anything humanity had built before. The ship was black as space itself, its surface broken only by weapon ports and sensor arrays. Its shape was vaguely reminiscent of a sword, long and sleek with sharp edges and a pointed bow. Along its hull, faint blue lines pulsed with energy, the only indication that the giant was alive and not just a shadow against the stars. "Beautiful, isn't she?" a voice said from behind him. Han turned to see Director Song approaching. The scientist looked tired, with dark circles under her eyes and her hair pulled back in a messy bun. She had been working on the project since the beginning, pushing both herself and her team to achieve what many had thought impossible. "Status report," Han ordered, his voice carrying the authority that had made him the unanimous choice to lead Earth's response force. Song handed him a tablet. "The EDF retribution is at 98% completion, Admiral. Weapon systems are online and tested. The FTL drive has been calibrated beyond Concordat specifications, just as you requested." Han took the tablet, scanning through the information with practiced efficiency. The retribution represented not just humanity's greatest achievement, but also its greatest gamble. After the destruction of the Discovery, Earth's nations had united with a single purpose: to ensure such an attack would never happen again. They had pooled resources, set aside old rivalries, and worked in secret. The retribution was the result. A warship built using what they had learned from examining the wreckage of smaller Concordat vessels, and combining it with humanity's own unique approach to warfare. "And the weapon systems?" Han asked, looking up from the tablet. "All operational," Song replied with a hint of pride. "The main gravitational disruptors exceed our projections by 20%. The adaptive shield technology has been successfully integrated with our point defense systems." Han nodded, studying the sleek lines of the massive battleship through the viewport. "And the crew?" "Fully trained, Admiral. The best Earth has to offer, 600 of our finest selected from every nation. They've been training in simulators for the past 2 years. They're ready." Han handed the tablet back to Song. "And the other systems?" "The electronic warfare suite is fully operational. The Concordat won't know what hit them." Song paused, then added, "The infiltration teams we sent to their outer colonies were successful. We know more about their technology than they think we do." "Good," Han said, turning back to the viewport. "And they still believe we're doing nothing." "Yes, Admiral. Our decoy operations in the asteroid belt have drawn their attention. Their scouts report exactly what we want them to see. A frightened civilization preparing mining operations, hopping to appease their new overlords. A small smile crossed Han's face. Then we're ready. The Concordat believes our silence means surrender. They're about to learn differently. Song hesitated. Admiral, I should warn you. While the retribution exceeds Concordat technology in several areas, we're still outnumbered. Their annexation fleet has 13 vessels. Numbers aren't everything, Director, Han replied. The Concordat has existed for thousands of years without facing a serious military challenge. Their tactics are predictable, their crews lack combat experience. And we have 3,000 years of human warfare to draw upon, Song added, understanding his point. Han nodded. Exactly, we may be new to space, but we're not new to war. He touched a control on his wrist device. Bridge, this is Admiral Han. Begin final preparations. We launch in 24 hours. Yes, Admiral, came the prompt reply. Han turned away from the viewport. Tell your teams they've done excellent work, Director Song. History will remember what they've accomplished here. What we've all accomplished, Song corrected gently. Han allowed himself another small smile. Indeed. Now let's go show the Concordat what happens when you underestimate humanity. As they walked away from the viewport, the massive shape of the retribution loomed behind them, a silent promise to a galaxy that would soon learn that humans didn't surrender. They responded. Nexus Station hung in space like a glittering jewel. The massive space station served as the Concordat's central trading hub, where 17 alien species came together to exchange goods and information. Its spiral shape contained countless docking bays, markets, and meeting halls. On a normal day, over 10,000 beings walked its corridors. Today was about to become very different. Station controller Pell moved his six-fingered hands across the control panels, monitoring the steady flow of ships arriving and departing. After 50 years at his post, he found comfort in the routine. Merchants arrived, traded their goods, and left. Diplomatic vessels came and went. The great machine of Concordat commerce continued smoothly. Sir, we have 37 arrivals scheduled in the next hour, his assistant reported. Good, Pell replied, not looking up from his screens. Make sure docking bay 17 is clear for the villain delegation. They always bring extra ships. The assistant nodded and turned away. A moment later, every alarm on the control deck began blaring at once. What's happening? Pell demanded, rising from his chair. Unknown, sir, called one of the sensor operators. A blinding flash of light cut through space just beyond the station's defense perimeter. The fabric of space itself seemed to tear open. Something's emerging from hyperspace, the station controller announced, his voice rising. It's massive. On the main view screen, they watched as a ship appeared from the hyperspace tier. But calling it a ship felt inadequate. This was a behemoth, a leviathan of metal and energy that dwarfed even the largest Concordat battle cruiser. The vessel was black as night, absorbing the light from nearby stars rather than reflecting it. Its whole design was unlike anything in Concordat records, sharp and aggressive, with what were clearly weapon ports lining its sides. Blue energy pulsed along its surface like blood through veins. Size comparison, Pell ordered, his professional calm beginning to crack. Sir, it's nearly 3 kilometers long, the sensor operator replied in disbelief. Mass readings are off the charts. Identify it, Pell demanded. Check all Concordat registries. No matches in any database, came the reply. This ship doesn't belong to any known species. The strange vessel moved with surprising grace for its size, positioning itself directly in front of Nexus Station. Its presence was like a predator among prey, stillness that promised violence. Sir, the communications officer called out, they're hailing us. Pell hesitated only for a moment. Put them through. The main screen changed to show the bridge of the unknown vessel. Pell felt his heart skip a beat. The beings on the screen were unmistakably human, a species the Concordat had dismissed as primitive just 3 years earlier. At the center stood a tall human in a dark uniform adorned with symbols of rank. "This is Admiral Han of the Earth Defense Force vessel Retribution," the human said, his voice calm but carrying unmistakable authority. "3 years ago, your Concordat destroyed our diplomatic ship without provocation and threatened our planet. You misunderstood our silence for submission. It was preparation." Pell found his voice. "Human vessel, this is a peaceful trading station. We have thousands of civilians aboard, whatever your grievance with the Concordat." "We are well aware of who is aboard your station," Admiral Han interrupted. "No harm will come to civilians today. Our dispute is with your leadership." A junior officer rushed to Pell's side. "Sir, the defense fleet is mobilizing," he whispered urgently. On a secondary screen, Pell could see the station's protection fleet, 12 sleek Concordat vessels moving to surround the human ship. It should have been reassuring. Those 12 ships had enough firepower to reduce most planets to ash. Yet the humans showed no concern. "Your vessels are preparing to attack," Admiral Han observed. "That would be a mistake." Before Pell could respond, alarms sounded again. Every weapons system aboard the defense fleet ships suddenly went offline. Engine controls failed. Communication systems died. "What's happening?" Pell demanded. "The human ship just released some kind of pulse," the sensor operator said, shock evident in his voice. It's completely disabled our fleet without firing a shot." On the screen, Admiral Han's expression remained unchanged. "We could destroy your entire defense fleet," he continued. "Instead, we offer this demonstration as a courtesy. The Concordat will meet with Earth representatives as equals, or we will dismantle your alliance system by system." The control room fell silent. The threat was clear and clearly within the human's power to carry out. I must contact the High Council," Pell managed to say. "You have 12 hours to arrange the meeting," Admiral Han replied. "We will remain here. Any aggressive move against this vessel will be met with immediate response. Han out." The screen returned to the view of the massive human ship. "Send an emergency communication to the High Council," Pell ordered, his voice shaking. "Priority 1. In the grand chamber of the Concordat High Council, emergency lights pulsed. The 17 representatives of the ruling species had been summoned from their beds, their meals, their various activities. Now they sat in stunned silence as they watched the footage from Nexus Station. Ambassador Talek paced before the main display, his 6 eyes blinking rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation in his species. "How," he demanded of no one in particular, "how did they build something so advanced? This is impossible. 3 years ago, they were barely able to achieve faster-than-light travel." High Counselor Var's voice cut through the chaos. "It seems we severely underestimated the humans," he said, his ancient voice carrying despite its softness. "Their technology exceeds our projections by centuries," Talek continued, ignoring the rebuke in Var's tone. "Their ship's capabilities shouldn't be possible for a species at their development stage." A small, gray-skinned figure stepped forward from the group of analysts at the side of the chamber. This was Ren, the Concordat's leading xenobiologist. "We made a fundamental error in our assessment," Ren said, her voice high but steady. "We judged the humans purely on their technological development without considering their other characteristics." "Explain," Var ordered. "We underestimated them, Ambassador," Ren said, turning to Talek. "Humans have been perfecting the art of warfare throughout their history. Unlike most species in the Concordat, who developed technology during extended periods of peace, humans advanced while constantly fighting each other." She activated a holographic display showing Earth's historical timeline. In just the past 200 years, they fought dozens of major wars. Their weapons and tactics evolved at an astonishing rate. Where it took the Vax 1,000 years to move from basic projectiles to energy weapons, humans did it in less than a century. "But the ship," another counselor interjected, "that level of technology." "They reverse-engineered it," Ren explained. "The scout ships we lost near Earth after the initial contact. The humans must have captured them, studied them. They took our technology, improved it, and weaponized it in ways we never imagined. Are you saying this primitive species outperformed our best engineers in just 3 years? Talek asked incredulously. Yes, Ren replied simply, because they think differently. The Concordat has existed for 10,000 years of relative peace. We developed technology for commerce, for comfort, for exploration. Humans developed technology to defeat enemies. We gave them the pieces, and they assembled a weapon beyond our understanding. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. What do we do? Someone finally asked. High Counselor Var rose slowly from his seat. We do as they ask. We meet with them as equals. That's preposterous, Talek exclaimed. We cannot allow a single show of force. Did you not see what their ship did to our defense fleet? Var interrupted, his voice hard now. They disabled 12 of our finest vessels without firing a single shot. If they wanted destruction, Nexus Station would already be space debris. He turned to face the full council. We have misjudged these humans from the beginning. First, we thought them primitive and weak. Now we see they are dangerous beyond measure. I will not risk Concordat lives because of pride. Var gestured to his aide. Prepare a delegation. We will meet with the humans and hear their terms. As the council began to discuss the details, Ren quietly updated her report on the human species. Under threat assessment, she deleted the previous rating of minimal and replaced it with a single word: extreme. High Commander Graffa stood on the bridge of the Concordat flagship, the Eternal Wisdom. His forearms were clasped behind his back as he watched the massive view screen. The sight before him was both impressive and troubling. The Concordat warfleet stretched across space in a formation that had been perfected over thousands of years. 300 ships from all 17 member species had gathered in a show of force that would have made any rational opponent surrender immediately. At the center of their formation floated a single black ship. The human vessel Retribution looked small compared to the fleet surrounding it, but Graffa knew better than to be fooled by appearances. All ships report ready, High Commander, his first officer reported. The formation is complete. Graffa nodded, his gray skin reflecting the blue lights of the command console. Open a channel to the human vessel. The communications officer worked quickly. Channel open, sir. This is High Commander Graffa of the Concordat Unified Fleet, he announced, his voice firm. Human vessel, you have violated Concordat space and threatened our citizens. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded, or we will open fire. The response was immediate. A human female appeared on the screen. She wore a dark uniform with gold markings on the shoulders. Her face showed no fear. This is Admiral Choi of the Earth Defense Force vessel Retribution, she replied calmly. Your fleet is impressive, Commander, but unnecessary. We came to negotiate, not to fight. Negotiations happen after surrender, Graffa stated. You have 1 minute to comply. Admiral Choi smiled slightly. I'm afraid that won't be possible, but please feel free to try whatever you think best. The screen went dark. Graffa turned to his tactical officer. Status of the human vessel. Weapons powered but not targeted, the officer reported. Their shields are active but not at full strength. They don't appear concerned, sir. They should be, Graffa said. Order all ships to move to attack position Alpha. Let's show these humans what real power looks like. Concordat fleet began to move, tightening their circle around the Retribution. The formation was designed to allow maximum firepower from all ships while minimizing the target area for return fire. On the bridge of the Retribution, Admiral Choi watched the alien fleet's movements with clinical interest. The massive view screen showed hundreds of ships moving in perfect coordination. They've surrounded us, Commander Bay reported from the tactical station. I count 312 ships, multiple weapon types, all powering up targeting systems. Choi nodded. Just as we expected, they're using their standard encirclement tactic, predictable. The bridge crew worked with calm efficiency. Unlike the ornate command centers of the Concordat ships, the Retribution's bridge was practical. Each station was designed for maximum effectiveness rather than comfort or appearance. They'll fire in coordinated salvos, Choi said, moving to stand behind the tactical station.